symptoms of a bad stabilizer link could be that when your car's at stop or at idle, it makes a rattle sound, or when going over speed bumps, sounds such as a clunk, a thump, a pop, a knock, or some sort of squeak. Or when you're driving, there's just poor handling. Maybe there's a loose or oversteering, or maybe there's like an excessive lean. Of course, those are just some of the symptoms for a bad stabilizer link, but it could be other things too, such as a bad suspension can make those sounds also. Today I'm going to show you how to replace the sway bar end links on this 2007 Honda Civic Si. This is the sway bar end link. There's two different parts number. One is the left, this one right here, that's the part number, and the other one is the right, which is the passenger side, and then this is the part number for that one. So it's slightly different. Before working under the car, be sure you have wheel chocks on the back of the wheel. And of course, always have jack stands. Now you want to take off both sides of the wheels, so you don't want to put any tension on the sway bar or the links. So that side's taken off. And of course this side's taken off also. Then we'll go below the car. This is the passenger side, which is the right side of the car. I'm going to come down here, and as you can see right there, we are going to be cleaning the rust off this part here. So you can just get a wire brush and just brush it off. And then there's this little hole in here. You're gonna want to clean it too, because you're gonna need a 5mm hex wrench that's supposed to go in there. So if there's rust, it might not fit through, but that would be a 5mm, just like that. So I'm gonna clean it up a little bit and then use a little penetrant to spray on here. So just brush it off, all the rust. So we'll just spray some penetrating lubricant on there and just let it sit for a little bit. Now, as you can see on this side, this is really crudted and it has stuff sticking in it, so we're gonna clean it also. So use a wire brush, and then we'll use a penetrating lubricant on it. Then what we'll do is we will wire brush this end right here, and we will also spray some penetrant on it. So now that we've given some time for the penetrant to penetrate and do its job, what we'll do here is we will loosen this bottom one first, and then we'll go to the top, this top one right here afterwards. But what you'll do here is it's going to be a 14mm, so you're going to put it on the nut, and then you can use a 15mm Allen to put it in here, and you're going to hold it steady while you're loosening it. Now it may be tight if it's all rusted, but since this is a California car, there's not really any rust, so it should be relatively easy. So you spin it counterclockwise. So while the ratchet is holding that on there, we'll just loosen it just like that. And we'll loosen that all the way, and then we will go on to work on here, this one right here. Now, as you can see here, we took that nut out. Now we're working on the upper one. You don't necessarily have to be under the car for this, but as you can see here, I was able to fit inside here from outside, from the side of the car. So you don't necessarily have to be under the car for this. So, and we'll loosen this one also. Now that we've got both of the nuts out, we should be able to just work the end links out, just like that. Okay, as you can see here, we took it out. And the reason we know this is bad is because look, you can move it around like this. And then if we look on the new one, you can barely move it. See this one, it's very tight. The boot, it's not ripped or anything. And then this old one, if you look really closely here, you can see there's a rip here, and then I can move this thing all around. That's how you know that the sway bar link is bad. So we'll just replace it and put the new one in. Now that we've already taken the sway bar end links, we'll just take off the sway bar bushings also. This is a 15-year-old car, so this bushing's never been replaced. So we'll just take that off right now. There's going to be two, one on each side of the car. So this is the bushing, which is the rubber piece. And there's a metal brace that's holding it on. It's held on by these, I believe they're 14 millimeters, so we'll just take that off. So we took that out here. This is the metal I guess brace that's holding it on, and then we will just pry this out, and then we'll put the new bushings. Now Honda doesn't use any grease on their bushings, so I'm not going to do that either. Now here's a comparison of the old bushing compared to the new one. The old one does look a little swollen, and it's a little bit thicker too, because the rubber here, if you look right there, there's a difference in thickness because the I guess, I don't know, it's from old age. Also, you want to look here. This is how you're going to put the orientation. FR means it's pointing towards the front of the car. So when you're going to install it, that's how you're going to make sure the arrow is pointing forward. And now we have the new bushing in. Again, make sure there's the little forward arrow pointing to the front of the car. The new bolts are in. The old bolt was a little rusted, so I have some extra bolts left over, so I'm going to use the new one. But you don't have to use new bolts. Now we're on the other side, so of course you're going to be doing the same thing. Just loosen the two bolts here, take out this bracket here, and then we'll replace the bushing. As you can see here, we got the new bushings in. Make sure again the correct orientation, the arrow is pointing to the front of the car. Now that we got the sway bar bushing replaced, we can continue on with the end links. So we'll just get the new end links and install that. So since we are working on the passenger side, this is how it should look like when we install it. So you can see those bright purple circle things supposed to be showing on this side. So this is the orientation that's supposed to look like. So now this is what it's supposed to look like. So what I did was I put the top portion in first, and then put the nut on top, and then I pushed it through the bottom. It may be off a little bit, so you might have to move the sway bar up and down. For my particular case here, I needed to shift it up a little bit. The sway bar should flex a little bit, but if you need help, you can always use a jack and put it on the bottom of the sway bar, so you can push this part in and move it around. So this is what it's supposed to look like, and then we will just tighten the nuts. Now to tighten both those nuts, don't forget to put the Allen key in place there while you're tightening it, otherwise it's going to keep on spinning. So we'll work on this bottom one first, right here, and then we will work behind there afterwards. So again, don't forget the Allen key to hold it in place. Now those are tightened, we'll just work on the driver's side. So now we're on the driver's side. We're going to do the same thing. Put the Allen key, and we're just going to loosen the top one, and then we will loosen this piece also. Okay, looks like we got that one done, and we will work on this one. Put the box end in there, and in this little hole use the 5mm Allen or hex key just to hold it in place, and then we will just loosen it. Now this should just come right out. So just pull it just like that. So as you can see here, we got this upper nut in place already, and then this lower part, it's slightly off just a little bit, as you can see there. So what I'll do is I am just going to put a jack, and then we'll just raise this sway bar. Sorry about the lighting. Let me see if I can move this. So I'll just put a jack just to like lift this sway bar up just a little bit, only because I'm too weak to push it up myself. So as you can see here, here's the jack. I put a little piece of wood on there just to protect the sway bar from getting scratched. But you can see here, you know, it doesn't quite go into the little hole. So I'll just jack it up just a little bit until like it gets higher, and then as you can see here, whoops, I dropped it, but I'm going to try to install it. So we'll just put the jack under there, and then we'll raise it up and get that in place. Okay, as you can see here, now the bottom bolt is through the little hole. So we'll just tighten both the bottom and the upper. Okay, now we got both those nuts back in place already, and you're pretty much done. This is a pretty simple task. It shouldn't really take you that long. The only problem I can see is maybe if you have like rusted nuts. But that's all.